What's good, everybody? Welcome to Frontrunner Podcast Collective, where we talk like friends, argue like cousins, and still walk out smarter than where we came from. I am Vince, your host, your occasional hoops therapist, your favorite bad influence, and when it comes to completely reckless NBA overactions that low-key make sense, twice a week, we're setting the table big, clear. Here's what I think and why. The breakdowns, real locker room honesty, and just enough this one time in the league. You know, we're just going to be doing it all for you. We're going to be unpacking everything. The wins, the mess, the front office agendas, the burner emoji, rumors of it all, with jokes, receipts, and takes that are either going to age like fine wine or end up on freezing cold takes reels you happily tag us in. Either way, you're leaving with something you can slam into your group chat and dare your homies to argue with you about. If you're here for the vibes and information, you have found your people. This is FRPC. So let's get into it. We're going to be talking about a couple things today. Obviously, yesterday we got the news that Mark Walter, the new governor of the Lakers, made his first real big move, and it had nothing to do with something on the court. Okay, so we're going to unpack that part and how this affects Jeanie Buss and her siblings. We're also going to talk about some draft items. We need to continue to talk about the top three, but is there really a big four? There are questions that I have to answer with that situation. And also we got some tidbits on some other guys that are doing some big things in the college basketball and international ranks that we need to get to. The last thing that we're going to talk about, if you saw it last night, if you were one of the privileged few that saw it, Tyrese Maxey went absolutely crazy. We will talk about that and how it correlates with a podcast that we just did on Tuesday. So if you're new here to Frontrunner Podcast Collective, welcome. We are happy to have you. We implore you to go back and check the archive pods. Those are where the gems are. We create new gems every week. Twice a week, sometimes 3 times, depending on if there's an emergency pod that needs to get done. What else do we need to talk about? One, we always want to talk about your participation. You can get us on Spotify. You can get us on Apple. You can get us on Amazon Music. You can get us on iHeartRadio. You can get us on Audible. Wherever you like to listen to podcasts, that's where we will be. So look for the pink and blue logo. Look for the fans holding up the signs, FRPC. And also, make sure that you are downloading the pods. Make sure you're subscribing or following the pod. Those are great helps to us. The reason why we say this is because we have really awesome audience members, and they're from across the globe. And we always want to show love and appreciation for those who have come. Because here's the thing, and I've said it maybe 2 or 3 times on this pod. We do not advertise for our podcast. We do not pay Google to move us up or anything like that. You don't see any people who are paid to say, hey, I am an Instagram model, but I also listen to Frontrunner Podcast Collective. We have not done that yet either. Not saying that we're not open to it, because we are. We're open to all of it. But every download that we've ever received has come from word of mouth and people just passing along the message of, if you like hoops, if you like true NBA talk, if you like things that are a little outside the box and also can be analytical all at the same time, you come to the right place. Front Runner Podcast Collective, and we are happy to have you here. So it is a feel good Friday. Hope everybody's feeling good. I'm feeling great. You know, beautiful weather here in Southern California. The sun is out. Maybe not for a long time. We've had torrential rain. And I know for our East Coast people, they're like, what are you talking about? For Southern California, what we got the last week or so, it's been torrential for us. Still makes us soft. I understand my East Coast, my Northeast Coast, Northeast corridor people really have it hard with the weather situation. But for us Southern Californians, we went through it. With that being said, let's get into this pod. We got so much to get to, and we will start off in Los Angeles, kind of where I am, a little bit south of there. So the Lakers, they sold for $10 billion earlier this year. Mark Walter, who is the controller of the Guggenheim Group, who also owns the Dodgers, bought the control share of the Lakers earlier this year. And at the time, he said, or he and Jeanie said, that she would stay on and help run the franchise as Mark Walter got his feet wet into the Laker business. Which I find funny, because Mark Walter was a part owner of the Lakers anyway. The Guggenheim Group had about 26% of the Lakers beforehand. So it's not like he was completely a novice to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, Jeanie, a minority owner as far as that's concerned, had kept her governor's chair, supposedly for the next 5 years. But inside the building, it doesn't feel clean at all, because at the same time, this $10 billion era begins with Joey and Jesse Buss getting fired from basketball operations. Jesse walks out telling The Athletic he felt like he was treated like an enemy, and we will get into all that. There's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of history behind this, and we are going to unpack it right now, and I'm kind of excited to do so, not just because of the fact that this is the Lakers. This is the team that I root for. I still try to keep my analyst hat on, but at the end of the day, this story is very fascinating to me because it has all the meat, all the juice of things that have been played out on little TV shows. It has some things that have been played out in like historic plays and everything like that. But I'm telling you right now, this is a story as old as time. So we're going to start here. The Lakers, it's not that simple, the organizational chart update. That's a red wedding in purple and gold. The doors closed and the music playing. The family thinks that they're in a celebration. And when it's all over, the air that was supposed to help run basketball ops is bleeding out in the parking lot with a quote instead of a promotion. So tonight we're going to walk the trail from Jerry Buss, who is Dr. Jerry Buss, the original promise, to this $10 billion throne room. We're going to hit the Palace uprising, the mom and pop way of this global brand that was actually run that way. Jesse's version of why he felt like the enemy. And then we're going to put it all that next to Mark Walter's Dodgers resume, because I think we're going to have some things that we're going to need to kind of look at, kind of compare and contrast. And after everything that happened Are the Lakers finally becoming the modern think tank, or did we just watch richer monarchy clear the floor so the throne looks neat for the new king? So I want to take you through this. Dr. Jerry Buss was one of the greatest owners in the history of the NBA. He brought us Magic. He brought us Showtime. He brought us the Laker girls. He brought us stars on the court. Like, New York gets love because of what they do. You know, Ben Stiller, Spike Lee, what have you. But we started that. We started that here in the La La. What has gone on and what was promised, well, kind of didn't work out that way. Dr. Jerry Buss and telling Jesse says Jeanie is going to run the business side. Joey and Jesse will eventually help run basketball operations. The plan was clear. The Buss siblings share ownership. Now, this is very important. For you who are not caught up to date and just know the figurehead that is Jeanie Buss, right? Beautiful, blonde, smart, ruthless when it comes to business, savvy when it comes to, negotiations and things of that nature. A lot of people did not realize, or if you're a Laker fan, you know this. The money that was received, like in revenue for the Lakers, was split. It was split 6 ways because there's 6 kids. Now, Joey and Jesse, part of the Laker organization. There's a couple of siblings, one who left the organization earlier because they were making stupid decisions when it came to free agency and things of that nature. And then there's a couple sisters who really have nothing to do with the organization whatsoever. So when we talk about how the Lakers have been frugal, keep in mind some of that frugality came from how much were the siblings wanting to invest back into the basketball, back into the Lakers. And if you are a person who, is more self-centric, who is thinking of themselves, and I understand that there's a lot of people out there who say there's nothing wrong with this. You're right. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking care of you first and then seeing what goes on. Knowing that your dad, Dr. Jerry Buss, loved the Lakers, bled purple and gold, you would think that you would want to pay a little homage to your dad. And to see some of these siblings just kind of go like, I don't know what I want to do here. That seemed like it costs a lot. I don't know. That was not your dad's MO. That was not his mode of operation whatsoever. And to see it all kind of get downsized was sad. It was sad to Laker fans. A lot of people thought that maybe Alex Caruso, who is now 2 teams removed, right, went to Chicago. A lot of people don't realize that he came back to the Lakers, said, hey, I got this deal from Chicago. Can you match it? And they said no. And then he said, can you come close? Because I really want to stay with the Lakers. And the Lakers did not value him, or that was the narrative that was put out there. And simply, I don't believe that was true. I believe that this was a cost-cutting measure because the siblings weren't willing to go ahead and do what it needed to do to go ahead and get this guy paid. Now, that's a different look at this whole deal. And I know that it'll be hard for a lot of Laker fans to wrap their heads around that. We look at Jeanie Buss and we go, oh, well, she didn't write the check to make this happen. And we're happy that Mark Walter is here. And I think what we will come to find out as we move along and we get past the Jeanie Buss era is that Jeanie will probably become more of a sympathetic figure as we proceed and as we go along, even in this podcast, than you might have ever even thought of. So let's get back to it. Jeanie, business, gonna be the governor, gonna be the face of the franchise. Joey and Jesse gonna be playing the background role. You know, they're gonna be the backup singers. You know, Jeanie be Gladys Knight, Joey and Jesse be the Pips, or more new thinking. Jeanie is Beyonce, and then you got Kelly Rowland, and the other females being Destiny's Child, right? And then Jeanie goes out and becomes real Beyonce, and she's like the face of R&B. The original succession plan were no outside billionaires, not a one-woman monarchy, but a family-run empire with different kids over different kingdoms. Years before, Mark Walter bought the Lakers in a sense of having the controlling part of the Lakers. Do people remember the Jim and Johnny Buss move against Jeanie? They attempted to change the board and oust her and reshape control. Jeanie Buss, who is one of the sisters, says it was an attempt to bust the trust and cash out. But the brothers, Jimmy and Johnny, they tried to leverage their way into sell and exit. Okay, so Jim Buss, who used to be like Mitch Kupchak's second-hand man, and if you're not familiar with Mitch Kupchak is, he was a long-time general manager of the Lakers. He succeeded Jerry West, who was the architect of the Showtime dynasty. He was also the architect of the Shaq and Kobe era. R.I.P. our guy Jerry West. So Mitch Kupchak comes in. He's heading the new regime. Kobe gets hurt. We start making decisions that is super crazy. I know if you're a Laker fan, you remember the Timofey Mozgov era. Also, the never-ending contract of Luol Deng. That thing took a long time to get rid of, boy. Before this, in 2017, Jimmy and Johnny Buss want to oust their sister and cash out. Okay, so that's a very important thing to remember. The coup fails. Jeanie holds on to the presidency. Eventually brings in Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka. That gets us to present day. But the key cultural point is this. Once you own, brothers try to remove you from power, every future personnel move carries that scar tissue. This is the first wedding rehearsal. Family members tested power. Jeanie learning exactly how far her own blood will go to move her out. This is when the Lakers became more of the mom and pop empire instead of how a marquee brand is usually run. People say they ran the business like a mom and pop, like a family shop. Which, if you want to say that, you can, because there were siblings embedded into their roles. But there was always internal beef, because Jim didn't like that Jeanie was basically the face of the franchise. So he was like, well, if I can't be the face of the franchise, I want to cash out. Okay. Gotcha. Decisions shaped by trust documents and inheritance, not just basketball logic. And that what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about how some of the kids did not care literally about the actual basketball on the court or the product they were putting out on the court. They cared about how much money they were getting. Bunch of family politics happened. From the outside, we saw banners, we saw stars. From the inside, according to multiple reports, who worked, who got fired, who stayed on board, was much as about bus dynamics than X's and O's. The crucial context of what happens in the real institutional buyer shows up in $10 billion. Enter Mark Walter. Now, again, we told you that Mark Walter was a minority owner for the Lakers for a long period of time. Jeanie Buss has been playing the long game for a long time. When the siblings tried to oust her, she got real strong allies. One was Mark Walter. Two was Magic Johnson. We can say, well, Magic went in there and kind of messed some stuff up, which he did. We ain't not going to sit here and say he didn't. But the one thing that Magic Johnson has always been, and he will always continue to be, is loyal and a confidant to Jeanie Buss. If there were rats aboard the ship, Magic was going to be able to sniff those bad boys out and be able to say, hey, look, listen, you got to look at this dude. You got to keep a close eye on this one, and what have you. 2012, Mark Walters buys the Dodgers for $2.15 billion. Team is in mid-tier in attendance, hadn't made the playoffs in 3 straight years, hadn't been a top 5 payroll in a decade. Under Mark Walter, payroll doubles first year. They start a run of 13 straight playoff appearances. They reach 3 World Series in 6 years and becomes Major League Baseball's first billion-dollar revenue franchise. Those aren't just, we got star stats. That is what it looks like when your owner pours money into the human capital, analytics, infrastructure, and process. And the reason why that's so important is because of this next step. Earlier this year, Mark Walter purchased the Lakers for $10 billion. When you're owner, and we just went through this in Boston, okay, remember Wyc Grousbeck said, oh, well, I'm going to be hanging around for quite some time. I'm going to help navigate Bill Chisholm through this process of ownership in Boston and how it works. How long did that last? Not very long. Because as soon as Bill Chisholm got his people in place, it was time for Wyc Grousbeck to get out of the box. We need to push him out the paint, and that's exactly what happened. Now, we fast forward to Mark Walter. NBA owners unanimously approved Mark Walter $10 billion purchase of the Lakers. Family retains roughly 15% of the minority slice. Jeanie remains governor for at least the next 5 years. Very important. Walter will bring in same financial and human capital investment to the Lakers that transformed the Dodgers. This is where the start comes. That sounds like a moment the Lakers become a true modern think tank. Joey and Jesse roles pre-firing. Joey, alternate government, VP of Research and Development and G League Leadership. Jesse, assistant GM, director of scouting, draft guru. Reason why he's a draft guru: Austin Reeves. That's Jesse Buss. We can sit here all day and talk about the Lakers. Austin Reeves coming to the Lakers has Jesse Buss's fingerprints all over it. He will always be known as the person that brought Austin Reeves to the Lakers. Rui Hachimura. Rui Hachimura was brought here because they hit on Kyle Kuzma, who was actually traded for Rui Hachimura. So the 47% three-point shooting that we see out of Rui Hachimura right now, the almost 60% that we see of mid-range shooting that we see out of Rui Hachimura right now, is because of one, Jesse Buss. Max Christie. Well, you go, well, we didn't get to see him do too much here in Los Angeles. We saw him play really well last season before he got traded to Dallas for Luka. Well, that's an important part right there. He was part of the Luka trade. The Luka trade doesn't get done without Max Christie, Jesse Buss. Jesse Buss wasn't the architect of the deal that brought Luka Doncic here, but he was definitely part of the infrastructure of the deal. Okay, so having Max Christie and developing Max Christie was a very important piece to making that deal happen. Jesse has spoken. He has some quotes out there, so let's go ahead and get into them. He said he felt siloed, going back to before the 2023 NBA draft. He talks about lack of communication with Jeanie and the organization while battling health issues. Says he started hearing about the team moves through the media, not the front office. Saying on his communication with Jeanie and Rob, he says he hasn't spoken to either of them in 5 months. Jeanie's last message was about the vote of the cell. Rob's communication was simply informing him whom they drafted and not asking him. Now, there's some other key news to this situation that I want to bring up right now. Just like with any organization, you're going to have your hits and you're going to have your misses. Jalen Hood-Schifino, a lot of Laker fans are, every time we bring that name up, they kind of sigh like, oh, damn. What could have been? Because I'm a Cam Whitmore guy, right? I'm a Cam Whitmore dude, self-professed. I tell you, he's baby Spreewell waiting to happen. Well, there were people inside the organization that were split. Actually, if you go further into it, Jesse Buss thought that Jalen Hood-Schifino was the dude that the Lakers should take. There were others inside that organization that thought that Cam Whitmore should be the person that should have been taken in the draft. And that's where the schism lies. That's when the communication got real shoddy. Now, Cam Whitmore is, not, I wouldn't say thriving in the league, but he's doing, he's still young, still doing his thing now in Washington. Has some breakout performances here and there. But we wonder what could have been under the development and the tutelage of the Los Angeles Lakers. Because one thing we can say about the Lakers is that their developmental arm produces people like Alex Caruso, has produced people like Austin Reeves, and we'll see about young Bronny James and see how that works out. Jesse Buss spoke about the culture. He says he feels like his voice wasn't in personnel decisions. He describes being treated as if he was working against them. He uses the exact phrase, like an enemy. Why is this important? He was dealing with a serious illness, immune therapy treatments, while the team was off to one of its best starts in years, while the players he helped identify in key rotation pieces, he couldn't travel with the team. He couldn't come into the office as much because he was going through some stuff. We turn the page, right? We got all this acrimony. Why did it come? Who are Joey and Jesse's brothers? Jim and John. Jimmy, who was ousted by his sister. He had found a confidant and an ally in Jane. John also was kind of like, yo, I'm kind of ready to get paid, and go ahead and sell the Lakers and get this coin so I can go ahead and live this life of luxury that I really, really want to live. Jane basically the same way. Jane doesn't care anything about the Lakers. I mean, we can put on a public face all we want, and she can say, oh, well, the Lakers have been part of my life for such a long time. Yeah, they've been part of your life because them checks been coming in. But as far as like any sort of real contextual interest in the actual day-to-day operations of the team, Jane had nothing to do with it. It was all Jeanie. Again, Jimmy got ousted, and now we got Jesse and Joey, who, let's turn the page, because now the Lakers terminate Joey and Jesse Buss and members of the scouting staff. The organization does not put out a detailed public explanation. Jesse, in his interview, says it wasn't a surprise to him. He points back to the cell, the long-running communication breakdowns, and his sense of the writing was on the wall. He also says the vision of the last 10 years isn't going to produce the kind of success fans were used to having under Dr. Jerry Buss. He hopes that Walter brings in the Dodgers model to the Lakers. So he's hoping for, if you look at what the Dodgers have done, and if you look at their front office, they have several general managers that are in their front office. Some people will say, hey, there's too many chefs in the kitchen, whatever the case may be. Andrew Freeman runs the Dodgers, and then he has several people who are very smart baseball people who have run teams before, who can isolate and exact trouble, watermarks or whatever the case may be. He has people who are really good at scouting and really good at organizing the scout teams to kind of look for certain players, or this is a new thing that we found in the margins. This is what the data is telling us about what we need to do to win in the margins. And then speaking of data, there are certain people who are probably in that organization that have come from a strict analytics background, who just eat data for breakfast like we eat Captain Crunch cereal, whatever the case may be. So he gets a ton of people in that are basically a conglomeration of, or amalgamation of, like one synergy GM that has all these different arms and tentacles, and basically creates and melds it all together to create what the Dodgers have created, which is back-to-back championships. Okay, why is that important? Because Mark Walter now owns the damn Lakers. Might sound like sour grapes, but Jesse and Joey were supposed to inherit the basketball ops. They're out. Jeanie Buss, the sister who survived past coups, keeps her throne. The new billionaire king arrives to a cleared palace. No more buses. There's not one bus that is not a female that's in this organization. So, you don't got any moles anymore. You ain't got no rats on the ship. I'm sure people will argue with me till the day is long. I'm sure that Jimmy and John had a lot to do with the souring of the relationship between Jeanie and those two, Joey and Jesse. And the reason why I say that is because brothers talk. You sit there, you might have a beer with your brother. In this case, you might have a scotch. And you sit out on the patio looking over your multi-million-dollar estate. And, you talk shop. Hey, how's it going over there? Oh, there's a lot going on, whatever case may be. Well, when I was there, I'm sure there was rhetoric in there like that. So Jeannie's outlasted the sibling uprising and now controls the only bus seat with real operational power. The family stake has been diluted and split, but she alone remains governor. Now, we don't know for how long. We don't know if Mark Walter is about to get her out the box, but for right now, Jeanie, who loves the Lakers, has loved not just owning the Lakers, but she really has tried to put her heart and soul into this business. We can talk about or debate some of the decisions that were made, but we can't debate her loyalty and her love of the organization. I go back to how Kobe Bryant, the late great Kobe Bryant, was treated. He was definitely not the same player once he had the Achilles tear. It happened later in life for him as far as that's concerned, and he just wasn't the same dude. He wasn't able to put the Lakers on his back, but Jeanie Buss paid Kobe like a superstar, and she said this will serve dividends down the road. We always take care of our stars. Now that might change with Mark Walter, but if you look at the Dodgers, they paid their stars. When they got free agents that they were very interested in, they paid those guys. Mookie Betts comes to mind. Freddie Freeman comes to mind. And obviously, Shohei Ohtani comes to mind. So, if there's a big fish out there and the Lakers are what I would say infrastructurally solid, which I don't know if that's the case or what Mark Walter thinks of infrastructurally solid as of right now, look for the Lakers to go big game hunting. Now, I understand that there's a certain salary cap that doesn't allow them to do that, but I am sure that Mark Walter will find people who understand the salary cap to the most degree. I am sure he will find the best analytic people that he can possibly buy for the Lakers. I am sure that if he thought it was a good idea, he would bring on a couple more basketball minds to help Rob Pelinka and shoulder some of the burden and shoulder some of the I wouldn't even call it minutia. I would call it hey, if you have a blind spot here, let me help you with that. I'm good at that. I'm good at this particular area. And then you can have a melding of the minds, and then you can come to a very informed decision. I think these are all the things that are about to happen with the Lakers. But you had to get the Bus boys out of there. Bus bros, not good. Jeanie Bus, good. You know why? Because Jeanie listens. That's how it goes. Jeanie has been an open mind situation. When Magic Johnson wasn't cutting it as a player personnel executive, guess what? The proof was out there. They laid out the diagram. They showed and they talked to Jeanie and said, hey, listen, this is not working for us. This is the reason why we need to get Magic back in the business of basically promoting the Lakers and not really running the Lakers. And they got Magic Johnson out of there. Now, does Magic Johnson still come to Laker games? Does Magic Johnson still talk to Jeanie Buss? 100%. Does he have anything to do with the day-to-day operations of the Los Angeles Lakers when it comes to player personnel moves? Absolutely not. Are there any hard feelings? No. Magic Johnson is a billionaire. He don't care. He got money. So the remaining buzz voices in basketball ops, Joey and Jesse, have been removed, and the new era begins. Jesse used language like sideline, shutout, and treated like the enemy. Now, again, we just talked about what Mark Walter has done with the Dodgers and what he should be bringing over to the Lakers. Does Jeanie want to evolve into the model with Mark Walter's backing? I think that was been the whole point all along. I think that's been the point. When he became minority owner, I am sure those conversations were happening. I am sure she was talking to that man and saying, I see what you do with the Dodgers, and you have a real interesting, front office structure. Tell me more about that. Oh, well, Jeanie, check this out. We are on the cutting edge of analytics. We're on the cutting edge of sports research and development. We got all the toys when it comes to swing diet and how to improve your swing or pitch shaping and all those type of things. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers have some sort of scientific arm think tank deal where they're improving the diet of all the players, along with their personal trainers and chefs and things of that nature. And I'm sure that people will be brought in. I'm sure that LeBron James people will be brought in and say, okay, you've been playing this game for 23 years. You are in phenomenal shape. What are some of the things that you've done, or what are some of the things that you've ingested into your body that we can go ahead and pass along to the next generation of Lakers? I am sure those conversations will happen. I am sure that teams who have really good player development have hit on successes where dudes were undrafted. Now, listen, I'm not saying anything bad about Jesse Buss. Again, he brought Austin Reeves to us. And Austin Reeves is a great Laker, right? You all agree to that. But at the end of the day, we out here trying to win, okay? We out here trying to win. And if he's going to be able to do that more effectively by bringing in other pieces, other things, whatever the case may be, then he's going to do it. He's going to bring in great coaches who maybe can help, JJ Redick, or help the front office be better about what they're going to do. He might bring in, people like Bobby Marks, but maybe not actually Bobby Marks, but people who've done the job and able to kind of just go, hey, listen, tell me what you see here. Does Magic get back into the Lakers? I don't know. This is what I do know. We're going to close this out by stripping all the emotion out and just stacking facts together. Fact, Jerry Buss, according to Jesse, told his kids that Jeanie would run the business and that Joey and Jesse would one day help run basketball operations. Check and check. This was an in-house succession plan. Now, years later, Jim and Johnny tried to move against Jeanie, change the board, and then bust the trust. That coup failed. Jeanie survived and consolidated power. The family war over the Iron Throne was real and it was public. And she never forgot it. Now, fact, in 2025, obviously Mark Walter comes in, buys most of the Lakers, and we are off and running. His track record, it speaks for itself. We know what he's done with the Dodgers. They got 3 World Series titles in 6 years. They have over $1 billion in revenue for that franchise. And people inside the NBA fully expect him to invest human capital and infrastructure into Los Angeles basketball the way he did with the Dodgers. Fact, in the same window of Joey and Jesse Buss, Jerry would-be basketball heirs are fired, probably having a lot to do with Jim and John. From their front office roles and scouting staff, team offers no public details because we're going to keep this all in-house. We heard about the rhetoric that Jesse said. He felt siloed. He felt that he was pushed aside. He felt that there was a lack of communication, and he hadn't spoken to Rob Pelinka in 5 months. Now, you put all those facts together and next to each other, and a picture emerges. A family empire that was fought over like a throne. A record-setting sale that changes the economic reality of the franchise. A new owner with a proven think tank blueprint, and an heir who says he was treated like the ops on his way out. The optimistic version of this story is that the Lakers are finally going to be run like the Dodgers. Money, data, collaboration, deep front office, no more mom and pop decisions making on a global luxury brand. Cynical version would say that we just watched $10 billion monarchy harden, fewer buses in the room, more money in the bank, and same tight circle making the calls. I don't believe that, because Mark Walter will not let that happen. Our final destination tonight is simple. This is the moment the Lakers choose what they are. Not what the banners say, not what the marketing says, not what the process says. A real think tank where the best ideas win, and royal courts where the last name and the inner circle still matter more than the voices in the scouting meetings. If you're a Laker fan, you've heard the root, seen the receipts, and you tell us after $10 billion sale and an enemy exit, do you trust Jeanie and Walter to build the think tank that this franchise deserves, or do you think that the rich just get richer? It's a bloodier Game of Thrones in purple and gold. I have to lean towards that we are about to see a real significant change within inside the Laker organization. All the things that we just talked about with like the sports science and things of that nature, we're going to see all of that. I am here to tell you, I think these conversations have been long and they have had dividends that have been paying off and been paying off for years, when Mark Walter was the minority owner of the Lakers and now he's the majority owner of the Lakers. I think that we're about to see a real change. Now, will it happen overnight? No. This is going to be a step-by-step process, and it might take a couple years. But in the meantime of those couple years, trust and believe that you will see smart people moved into positions that will only benefit the Lakers and what is going on with the players, what's going on with the coaches. And I'm going to tell you right now, that analytics department that used to be in a broom closet is going to grow exponentially. You do not have to worry about that. Scouting and video coordination with the analytics is going to work hand in hand. And we are going to see a different, more tech savvy, more analytical way of the POV of what the Lakers are and how they move from here on out. Now, we get to some NBA draft. A couple weeks ago, everybody was calling the 2026 draft a big three draft with Darren Peterson, AJ Dybansa, and Cam Boozers. 3 dudes good enough to make owners comfortable losing on purpose. But now we got to ask a different question. Did Caleb Wilson just turn this three-headed monster into the Fantastic Four? The North Carolinian 6'10" forward with freak tools, two-way upside, and real star chatter from scouts, plus a couple international wild cards like Kareem López of the Breakers and also Dash Daniels of Melbourne, are making front offices rethink how deep the top of this thing goes. It is still a 3-man tank race, or is Caleb all the way in that top tier? We're gonna answer this question for you. Where does FRPC favorites Boozer, Peterson, Mikael Brown Jr. actually sit in this ecosystem? And how much stock do you put into the 2 international men of mystery, Kareem López and also Dash Daniels, and where you're talking real lottery capital? We're going to have some fun right now. So, you know about Peterson. You know about what he is. A lot of people there's been whispers about that kid. Dybansa is a slashing wing. I get to the free throw line. Dude, Boozer is just complete. He is as Tim Duncan can be without being Tim Duncan. Now comes Caleb Wilson. 6'10", 215 pounds, long-rangey, true two-way forward. Switches across positions, can protect the rim, and has legit shot creation flashes for his size. Business side, 1 franchise changer on a rookie deal. You tank. 3, you throw in a season into a shredder. 4, you got a full-on Tankapalooza. You see a lot of teams. There's a lot of surprise teams that won like 2 or 3 games. We knew Washington was going to be bad. Sorry, hey, the district, I'm sorry. But we knew you were going to be bad. Brooklyn basically proclaimed they were going to be bad. But the teams that we were not expecting to be bad, Indiana, didn't expect them to be bad. Sacramento, we kind of thought they would be bad, but we didn't think they would be this terrible. Utah actually threw it out there that they were going to be this bad. And then you got Charlotte, who, yeah, those LaMelo Ball trade rumors are getting super real now, boy. Super real. More teams are willing to bottom out. More are hiding wars to trade into the top 4. More owners are squinting at the standings saying, do we really want that 35th win? Add the context that the 2027 draft already, they're down on the top end talent, and that makes the 2026 the last big franchise swing draft before potential down year. Anytime that assets get scarce, you gotta understand that the NBA is a business. We can sit here and talk about players. We talk about just the imagination of what these cats are going to do and how it's going to encapsulate the league and where they're going to plant their flag at and things of that nature. No pun intended with Cooper Flag, but you know what I'm saying. But when you sit there and you have the 2026 draft that's supposed to be chock full of like just various different types of talents that are out there, but it's really top heavy. There's some supposed real difference makers at the top end of this draft. You got to do what you got to do. Hence what Indiana's doing. Because that was the one that we did not see coming. The Indiana one we did not see coming. Hell, Dallas. You could say, hey, Nico, terrible. But is it really terrible? Is it really terrible if you end up with Cooper Flag and then either AJ Dybansa, Darren Peterson, or Cameron Boozer? Is it really terrible? Darren Peterson is still number one on the big board. He's the guard engine. He's 6'6" with a 6'10.5" wingspan. He is 8'7" standing reach. Scores on 3 levels. You know what I'm saying? So he can score outside. He can score in that mid range, and he can dunk on people. Bill Self has already said he's the most prepared freshman he's had in his ranks. He says he can carry the load. 26-5 as a college line is on the table for this kid. AJ Dybansa right now is consensus number 2. Best physical tools among the wings, bend, and plus explosion. Constant rim pressure that he can put on. In the UConn game, in the first half, he was 1 of 6 turnovers. He looked like a over-eager driver versus elite help. In the second half, 21 points, once the spacing adjusted, and he started reading the help better. His jumper is going to be the make or break situation for him. Also, if he can learn how to share the sugar, will also help him. Cameron Boozer, we don't have to talk about. It's almost boring at this point how good he is. He's just fundamentally sound. He does inverted actions with Isaiah Evans, which is crazy. He's Kevin Love adjacent when it comes to offensive profile with better handle this early. The analytics crowd sees him as a high floor star if the finishing and the length versus length improves. But now to our party crasher. The 6'10", 215-pound standout with length, fluid mobility, plus athleticism mixes forward size with legit ball skills. This is Caleb Wilson, by the way, of North Carolina. And if you haven't seen him play, go check him out. He can put it on the floor. He can create his own shot. He can attack mismatches. Flashes scoring all 3 levels. Oh, man, his putbacks are legendary. The drive pull-up game is also really stellar. He has high-end switchability on the defensive side. He can protect the rim, rotate as help, and guard in space. That is very important for somebody 6'10". He stacks blocks, steals, deflections when he's locked in. This is true of all young players. His mid-range fadeaways, his pull-ups, and his three-point range are starting to show. And if this is real, this is where we're talking about. It's a fantastic 4 instead of a big 3. And that changes the game. That changes the game for what we're going to see later on in the year when some of these teams start to fall off or injuries have them succumb to bad seasons. Utah is off to a decent little start here. I wonder how long that goes along. I wonder how long Lauri Markkanen stays in Salt Lake City area. I wonder. Do you shut him down? Can Keontae George continue to have games where he scores 30-plus points and he goes off in the first half looking like prime like Steph Curry, shooting threes coming out his butt? I wonder. If you're sitting there and you're asking yourself, okay, what's the difference between Peterson, Dybansa, and Boozer, and why is Caleb Wilson in this situation? Well, it's the skill level. It's the skill level that he's showing. The skill level that he's showing, if it continues to repeat itself, if it continues to be redundant, it is hard to sit there and look at somebody who's damn near 6'11", who you start to believe that the outside shot is for real. You see the pull-up game and how crispy it is, and you see the rim protection, and then the ability to switch out to guards and be able to be competent, if not just competent, a difference maker out in space. Those are things that make you a elite basketball prospect. For some added depth to this situation, you know my love for Mikael Brown Jr., but we got some other guys. Kareem López, he's 6'8". He's playing for the New Zealand Breakers. He's from Sonora, Mexico product. Big, broad-shouldered, NBA-ready frame already. Smooth on the offensive end, mover. He's more about balance and efficiency than he is a highlight. He can attack you off the dribble or spot up as a floor spacer. Confident in the mid-range. You know what I'm saying? He can shoot it. Has touch from deep. That projects. He's a smart cutter. Good finisher around the rim and works well without high usage. We love that. This is where he's special. On the defensive end, with effort and awareness, he competes all the time. He is not scared of the spotlight. He ain't scared against an opposition that might have more claim than he does. He just likes to get nasty. He uses his length to guard multiple positions. He rotates and contests, does little things that impact winning. And what I mean by that is that he's able to mirror guard, right? But he's also able to blow up a pick and roll. Like, he fights through screens like nobody's business. You know, he is not willing to just concede a bucket. Now, we got to find out if the three-point shooting can be consistent enough with volume and confidence. Sometimes the movements can look mechanical, more like a modern 4 than a gliding 3. But he's also 6'8" and 215 to 220 pounds. So position and identity is still evolving. Combo forward, true or versus true wing. Right now, I think he's more of a evolving combo forward. But if he can show a little bit more fluidity, that is why we are in love with Caleb Williams. It's the fluidity of his game that makes him special. And that's why we have him up in the top 4. You know what I'm saying? That's why the top 3 is now a Fantastic Four. Because we think the fluidity and the smoothness of Caleb Williams' motions, and also the way he's able to score the basketball, we believe in that. Where with Kareem Garcia, we don't. Sorry, not Kareem Garcia. López, I'm sorry. I was thinking about a baseball player. A former Dodger, by the way. If you're looking to pick in the teens or in the 20s, I don't know. I think he's going to be more in the top 10. We'll see. Now, there's another guy. Dyson Daniels has a brother, Dash Daniels. He's a little bit smaller than his brother. He's about 6'6", guard wing, Melbourne. He has length plus size to guard multiple spots. He's just like his brother on the defensive end. Disruptive, deflections, contests, real anticipation on and off ball, high basketball IQ, plays with competitive juice. This is Dyson Daniel to a T. So it's great to see Dash Daniels have those qualities. Now, offensive side. More advanced toolkit than Dyson at the same age. This is promising because Dyson is starting to take off. Can score on all 3 levels in flashes. So it's not consistent. But Dyson didn't show any of this when he came into the league. Handles pick and roll and can create separation with craft. This is also another big revelation when it comes to Dash. Dash has more pick and roll savvy right now than Dyson Daniels did when he was his age. I know we're only talking about a couple years, but to see the growth and to see that, like, that, okay, this is already here, that bodes well for Dash down the road. Developing shooter can't space the floor when set. So if he can just stand there and shoot the ball, it's good. Movement shooter, not so much yet. But keep in mind, dude's 18 years of age. Already in the pro culture, elite coaching, vets, NBA Global Academy background, concerns. His burst and explosion are not elite. His first step and vertical pop limits some of his finishes. Needs to get stronger and more assertive attacking the rim. Can be tentative in the half court. Creation has to find balance between facilitator and scorer. Right now he defers, and here's the thing. He's 18 years old. He's playing in a pro league. He's playing in Melbourne, right? He's not playing for like whatever the overtime elite is or whatever, or the G League Ignite. This dude is playing in a real league in Australia with grown ass men who got babies and got families. So does he defer more than you would think? Yeah, he does. Because he believes in the team concept, because that's kind of how he was coached to be. He hasn't really gained that whole, like, okay, it's time for me to take over the game type of mentality yet. Now that's something that you can instruct into him. It's, you wish it was the other way around a little bit, that he was more aggressive and then you can kind of tone it down. But we've seen this work in the league too, because the one thing that we can see is that on the defensive side of the ball, with his anticipation and with his work ethic and his ability to always compete on that end, you can transfer that over to the offensive side. You saw his brother do it. We've seen Jimmy Butler do it. We've seen others do it. Jaden McDaniels came into this league. He was a defensive stopper. That's what he was. The offensive game within the last 2 years has grown exponentially. This is what we're hoping for Dash Daniels. So we just wanted to give you a couple of like little news and notes on that situation. I wanted to make sure that we go ahead and get as much of the draft situation in there. We are looking to have something out on our blog probably within the next month or so. I would love to have it like right around the first of the year, where we have a really in-depth draft board. So I'm looking to put that together myself personally, and I got my collective working with me around the clock to go ahead and get that set up. Now, the last piece that we need to talk about before we get up out of here. Tyrese Maxey. He made us look like prophets last night. Okay? And what I'm trying to tell you right now, what I'm trying to tell you is that if you're not listening to FRPC twice a week, if you're not understanding, or you not picking up the gems that we are putting down, then last night's performance is not going to mean, it's going to mean a lot in the sense of your entertainment value, but it's not going to mean a lot into what we were talking about and how now it all comes together. Last week, or earlier this week, I had an intrusive thought. And that intrusive thought was, hey, Paul George is now back for the 76ers. And I said, at that point in time, do the Sixers need Paul George? And I said, how long until everybody admits that this is Tyrese Maxey's franchise? And no disrespect to Joel Embiid, no disrespect to Paul George or anything like that, but we can clearly see with our eyes that this dude is completely not just box office, but he has the ability to take over a game where he's what we wanted Ja to be. He might not be able to yam like Ja. He might not be able to just awe you with complete crazy vertical athleticism. But you know what Tyrese Maxey can do? He's fast as fuck. He is so fast. And he puts pressure on defenses by probing and getting down the court so quickly and just kind of putting your defense in a situation where it's on its heels all the time. So on Tuesday pod, we told the hoop loving community that the keys should already be in Maxey's hands. That the offense, the culture, and the timeline all needed to run through number 0 and not the idea of 35-year-old Paul George. I understand that Paul George was never going to be the number 1. My whole thing with what I was talking about was we should not be waiting around for Joel Embiid's knees to get any better. We should not be waiting around for Paul George to come back from rehab and provide this like veteran leadership that he's going to just automatically get 34 minutes a game when you got people like Tyrese and Maxey, when you got people like VJ Edgecombe, when you got guards like Jaron McCain. Also, shouts out to our boy Quentin Grimes, who's doing it real big in Philadelphia as well. So, 48 hours later, road overtime in Milwaukee. No Embiid, no Oubre. Tyrese Maxey puts up 54 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds in 46 minutes and 38 seconds of gameplay. He was 18 of 30 from the field. That's 60%, by the way. He shot 6 of 15 from 3. That's 40%, by the way. He shot 12 of 14 from the free throw line. That's 93%, by the way. He was a plus 18 in a 9-point overtime win. And what I mean by plus 18, I love the box plus minus. I'm a big plus minus dude. The Sixers win 123-114. They move to 9-6. This is no small feat, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it has been on the shoulders and the back of Tyrese Maxey, not Joel Embiid, not Paul George, who just came back. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Daryl Morey, you over here looking like a genius because of Tyrese Maxey. I'll tell you right now, this kid is a savior for the Philadelphia 76ers franchise. This is not a cute breakout guard stuff. We told you that hand this dude the keys. He has basically walked into Fiserv Forum, took the title deed, and handed it to FRPC Giant. You were right, Banner. You know what I'm saying? You were right. This episode isn't about Maxey and can he be the number 1 option. It's about what you do organizationally once the evidence says he's already him. If Maxey is really that guy, which he's given every little piece of evidence shows that, every decision from Paul George role to the future draft picks has to be made under Maxey's timeline, and there's no other way around that. They've already given Maxey the fun extension, the rookie extension. George is a high salary guy who's a veteran leader. Now, how he fits around Maxey and how many minutes does he play, and does he take away from the other runway of dudes that are out there? Does he take away from VJ Edgecombe? I hope not. I hope not. Does he take away from Jaron McCain? I hope not. I hope not. You start with Maxey as your offensive son, and PG either orbits cleanly around that, or he becomes a cap figure you evaluate. Meaning like, yo, can we move this dude? Can we move him? The Bucks game as a business data point on the road versus 500 teams without Embiid, with Milwaukee sitting at 51, 45, and 73 as a team. Maxey authored a 54, 9, and 5, and zero doubt whether he was number 1 option. The 9 assists, only 3 turnovers let you know that he can handle all the pressure when all eyes on him like Tupac. You're paying him like a star, and he's playing beyond that number. From a cap sheet perspective, the question isn't, can Maxey scale next to stars anymore. It is, can everyone else scale to Maxey? Once you accept the Maxey window, veterans like George automatically become supporting investments, not co-anchors. And that was the point of Tuesday's pod. Yes, can Paul George provide veteran leadership? 100%. Can Paul George provide a respite for Tyrese Maxey, who has been putting in 40 minutes a game, and in the overtime game he put in 46 minutes and 38 seconds. I mean, geez, this dude played 48 minutes. That's crazy amount of time. He literally played the whole game, if you think about it. There are 48 minutes in a basketball game and then a 5-minute overtime. He played 46 minutes and 38 seconds, so damn near 47 minutes of 52. Can George help him? Yes, he can. You can run offense through George, 100%. You might be able to get better shots for VJ Edgecombe. You might be able to get better shots for Jerry McCain. My whole thing is this, is that I don't want Paul George messing around and we start to see minutes, his increments of minutes move up to into that 30 to 35 range. There's no need for that. Paul, you've been awesome your career. Yeah, there's been things where we wish you got better. There were things where we wish you could have just elevated your game a little bit more. But now, it's not about you. No. It's about Tyrese Maxey. It's about the development of VJ Edgecombe. It's about the development of Jared McCain. That's what it's all about. And you are now a complementary piece. And understand your role, son. Understand it. Embrace it. Accept it. Because here's the thing. If you don't, if you try to pull some veteran Jedi mind trick, cool type stuff where you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to be happy unless I'm contributing significant minutes to this team. You can go play in Memphis. Okay? Let's not trip. Let's not trip. Especially when we're seeing 54 points on 30 shots. Okay? 54 points on 30 shots. This dude's shooting 60%. 16 of 15 from three-point land. That's 40% on the nose, baby. 12 of 14 free throws. That's 86% free throws, man. You know what I'm saying? That's B+. First quarter, Maxey establishes dominance. You know what I'm saying? 12 quick points, got downhill, hit a three, lived at the free throw line, set the tone. Philly up 33-20 after one. Maxey killing the game. Second quarter, Milwaukee punches back. They win that frame 37-22. Maxey said, don't trip. I still scored 11. Hit a pull-up three with 32.3 seconds left to go to tie the game, just to make sure that Milwaukee knew what they were about to be up against. Third quarter, ugly all the way around. Maxey still finds 9 points. Keeps the Sixers attached while the Bucks edge ahead 81-77. This is where the old Sixers would have folded without Embiid. Instead, Maxey keeps applying pressure. And then in the fourth quarter, Maxey puts on the cape. 16 points in the quarter. There was a sequence. 12 minutes in the quarter, right? To 9:26. Scores 9 of Philly's first 11, including a 31-footer to give them the lead. Now, down 106-104 with 7 seconds left, he calmly goes to the line and hits both to tie it. Why is that important? Because you can trust him in big leverage situations. He's not just hiding in the corner. He's not ceding to PG. He's the driver of every big possession, and then in the overtime, 6 points, including with 3:43 left, blow by, layup, put Philly up 111-106. He had multiple trips to the foul line to ice it, 7 of 8 to be exact in the overtime. Overall, Philly, Maxey takes all of them. 3-level score, check. Elbow step backs, check. Layups and floaters, check. Transition finishes, check. Repeated target mismatches off screens when Kuzma or Portis was on him, absolutely. Pick and roll, hunting people, he did that. He did all the things that you will want a apex predator to do. He did it. So if you want to talk about culture and whatever, we said on the last spot, if there was any debate on whose team it already was, you lost the plot. There's no debate. Everybody looked to Maxey. Because here's the thing. He is killing everybody. It is not just like, oh, hey, we're just doing this to be doing this. Paul George had the efficient line. He had 21 points, 7 to 12 from field goals, 4 7 from deep. He had 3 assists. But even with George cooking, every high leverage possession still ran through one person. Who was that? Tyrese Maxey, for sure. Edgecombe, McCain, and Walker, all the young guys are looking at Maxey like, where do you want me? I just want to be able to help. This is the exact visible shift we said needed to happen from Embiid, whoever, to Maxey. Sets the tone, and the vets need to support that. You can fake being the guy in a hostile building in overtime, but teammates know who to trust, and Thursday night said a lot. The team already acts like Maxey. It's a Maxey show. The front office just has to be able to play catch up. If you want to call it like chemistry experiment is going to work, what we saw on Thursday night has to be the elixir. Okay, the offensive hierarchy is solved. Maxey is obviously the number one. PG is a spacing secondary creation guy. Plays some defense because he has physical tools and physicality that is something that the Philadelphia 76ers need. He's 6'8". He's 220 pounds. He can guard threes. He can guard fours. And hopefully, every once in a while, he can get the legs together and provide a little rim protection. You don't need to hunt for a guard anymore because you got him. VJ Edgecombe is there. Don't worry about it. Jared McCain is there. And then you also got Tyrese Maxey. George's contract, which, remember, just a year ago, there was such a dependency on Paul George and what he was bringing to this team. And now his contract and his play becomes optionality, not life support. Our Tuesday line was basically treat Paul George as an evaluation asset, treat Maxey as a long-term certainty. This game was Exhibit A for that framework. The smarter front offices is that the colder they get about the past, the version of Paul George, and the warmer they get about the present, which is Tyrese Maxey, the better off you're going to be. We will say it for the last time. Every move from here on out needs to answer one question. Does it help zero in May? If the answer is no, you don't do it. And people will say, well, you can't win with guards like this. Well, it's not like he's 6 feet. He's sturdy. He's a sturdy guard with elite speed, and now he's adding foul drawing and playmaking to his repertoire. You don't ignore a guard who can give you 54 and 9 on the road in a playoff style environment because of the archetype fear. Build around a roster that covers his weaknesses. What you could do. Shit, they did in Atlanta with Trae Young. You need plus wings. Hi. Welcome, VJ Edgecombe, to the conversation. And I'll say it one more time. If George is 80% of his peak, his value is still massive. Because your number one is already doing this. And lastly, basically, Tyrese Maxey didn't just justify having the keys. He changed the locks on the franchise while we all watched. Front Runner Podcast Collective, Tuesday, we said that the offense should be Maxey first. We said that George should be evaluated as a fit piece, not a main character. 2 days later, 54 points, 9 assists, in an overtime masterpiece on the road against the Milwaukee Bucks. For our hoot-loving community, if you're a Sixers fan, are you already emotionally locked into the Maxey era? Or are you still holding on to, hey, if we can get the big guy, coax him along till April, and we can get Paul George ramped up, maybe we can make an actual run to the finals. I'm going to tell you right now, do not live in a pipe dream. Don't do it. It's only going to hurt you, and it's going to hurt your loved ones around you when you screaming at the television talking about, we should have been a contender. My whole thought on this whole situation is that we talked about it on Tuesday. The developmental runway, go ahead and drink. I know y'all got a drinking game on this. The developmental runway of VJ Edgecombe and Jared McCain and whoever else you bring in the building that is going to go ahead and enhance who Tyrese Maxey is from here on out is all of what Daryl Morey and the folks in Philadelphia should be thinking about. Josh Harris, who owns the Washington football team, who owns the Philadelphia 76ers. My thing is this: you got Jaden Daniels from LSU last year, and it turned your whole football franchise around. Maxey has just quietly developed, kept on working on his skills, and now you got a supernova dude. Let him be supernova and build everything around him. And that's my little rant for today. Know that we're going to be back on Tuesday. We'll have watched a lot of games on over the weekend, and we will give you our thoughts on what is going on around the league. I would like to also tell you guys again, hit us up on Twitter. Frontrunner PC is the click that you need to get with as far as that's concerned. We also have another social. Let me bring it up right now. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get that going. So at socially _FRPC, that's our social media other hub that we use. Hit either one if you have questions. Also, if you have answers to anything that we talked about today. If you're a Laker fan and you disagreed or agreed with the Game of Thrones type situation that's going on with the Lakers, let us know. If you agree that we might have a big four or fantastic four in the NBA draft, that's why we got a lot of Tankapalooza going on, hit us up. And also, if you believe what we believe, if you're a Philadelphia 76er fan and you believe that Tyrese Maxey is that dude, he is him. He is the sun. He is the stars. He's the omega. He is just the alpha. He's everything. You know what I'm saying? If you believe that, then you need to hit us up at Frontrunner PC and also at socially _FRPC. Those are the places where you can get us. The other thing is this. You can also find us. You can just send us an email. FRPCvince@gmail.com. Get you us. And again, if your comments are tight, they end up on the podcast. That's how simple it is. We shout you out. You know what I'm saying? We say, hey, got a good comment from Lisa. We got a good comment from Brad. Look at the big brain on Brad. And then we hit your handle, and then we let it go. If you decide, hey, I want my situation redacted, we can go ahead and go deep state on you too. You know what I'm saying? We can keep your stuff under darkness. Got no problem with that. But hit us up. Be a part of the program, because that's what we want. We want to make sure that we're building this hoop community for everyone and anyone who wants to be a part of it. So, with that being said, the best part of you is still you. Not your record, not your feed, you. Surround yourself with people who give you light, insight, joy, and accountability. That's your real max deal. Appreciate them out loud. Don't wait for a later that Nobody is promised you. Get on that immediately, you know what I'm saying? And if you're still looking for your hoop family, you got one here with us at FRPC. We joke, we overact, we get loud, but we respect your brain. We always say thoughts over takes every single time. Remember, anyone can yell a take. Very few can defend a thought. Until next time, keep your mind sharp, your heart open, and your circle tight. And remember, protect your peace like cap space. And never waste it on bad basketball or bad energy. I'm Vince. Y'all have a good weekend. We see you later, and we out.